Welcome back, everyone. So, we are continuing on with the letter. Last episode, we left off with finding a creepy ass thing up in the attic that was going to kill us because we died once and it did kill us. Awesome. The attic where the green haired lass, if we remember it as our colleague, we thought she was up there. Apparently not. And this other lady, I presume, might be an interested buyer considering the way in which everything's going on. But yeah, let's carry on and see who the 5 people this letter needs to go to. Well, there's also the part where I may lose the bonus BRC promised, but that's completely beside the point. Oh yeah, we got told to go home. No. Rose gives me a skeptical look when I return the cold compress to her and push myself off the floor. I have to use the staircase railings to steady myself, but otherwise, I feel fine.
I'm A-okay.
Awesome, mild concussion. The two of them exchange a worried glance, and Rose assumes a contemplative look. I bite my lower lip in anticipation. If she says
right,
no,
you in?
Yes. A smile threatens to slip out from
If
me.
I see that you aren't feeling well, I'm taking you personally to the nearest clinic to have you checked. Clear?
Fair deal.
Clear as day, ma'am. Thanks, Rose.
You insisted. But remember what I said. First sign of you looking not okay, and we're off. No questions asked.
Should really check on the lady in the attic. She doesn't look very okay.
It's just a small bump. Don't worry.
You shouldn't downplay these kinds of things. It could be a serious injury for all we know.
It's a mild concussion. Let's not get over-exaggerated. Suddenly a small cough sounds against the walls of the foyer, interrupting our banter. I love how even those little noises are done for this as well. It's great. The woman is looking expectantly at us too, her stare making me shrink back a little to myself. She isn't really intimidating. Well, she is, but not in the scary, negative way. Far from it, actually. Her demeanour simply commands an air of sophistication and respect. In a different world, a younger me would probably have wished to be like her. At our lack of response, she coughs again, lifting a well-trimmed eyebrow at me in question. Words get caught in my throat at the sight of it, and Rose, as usual, is swift to catch my blunders.
My sincerest apologies, Miss McCulloch. Marianne McCulloch.
McCarlach. God, that's going to be a pain in the ass. Marianne McCarlach. Trayley, Rose Designs. Interesting. I wonder if that phone number actually does work. She hands Rose her business card. The words interior designer catch my eyes before my partner flips it over. Oh, probably someone interested in the mansion for its 17th century influences then. I won't hold it against her though. Despite the hearsay and remaining uninhabited for years, the mansion's original fittings and furnitures have been kept completely intact and restored to pristine condition. I suppose some people find that trip to the past feeling appealing? After all, with what it offers, this place could also be a heaven for people looking to live somewhere with a classic, historical charm.
Miss McCullough, I'm Rose Cooper, and this is my partner, Isabella Santos. We're just ironing out a few things, but we'll be starting the tour soon enough.
Got everyone's full name. Miss McCullough, Rose Cooper is my work colleague, and I'm Isabella Santos. I just said it and I still can't fucking say it.
In the meantime, we've prepared some refreshments for you in the parlor while you're waiting. If you could please.
Thanks. There's no need for it though. I just dropped by for a quick survey of the place. I thought I should check the estate before I meet with the homeowners.
Rose's confusion is impossible to miss when she glances at me, and I return it with an equally perplexed look. And against my better judgment, I blurt out the first question that comes to mind.
I'm sorry. Homeowners?
I should have kept my mouth shut. A flash of irritation crosses her face, but it instantly disappears under a mask of professional detachment.
Yes. Hannah Wright? I was hired by her to handle the interior design for their newly bought home.
Oh.
This is the Ermengarde mansion, right?
It is, but
She pauses, possibly trying to find the right words to fix the awkward situation without offending someone. Suddenly, Rose nudges me with her elbow. We'll check with our supervisors, I don't know. Yeah, because this place is up for, like, sales with our company. It doesn't have a homeowner properly. Okay, we'll check with our supervisors. For those few moments have given me enough time to clear my head of any nervousness or confusion clouding
It
it.
is, ma'am, but we weren't aware the mansion has already been sold.
What do you mean?
I almost flinched when she turned her gaze on me, but I stand my ground. Besides, it isn't like I haven't dealt with awkward situations like this before. I may screw up at times, but that doesn't mean I haven't learned a thing or two in the 5 years I've worked in this business.
The mansion is indeed for sale, ma'am. Today's the open house, in fact. However, we haven't heard anything from the higher-ups that a deal has already been closed for this particular property. If you'd like, my co-agent and me can check with them right now.
She nods, seemingly in deep thought after I've finished. She appears to be a reasonable person. Anyway, given the proper explanation, she'd surely understand.
I thought something looked odd when I arrived here. Excuse me, I think I need to make a call to my secretary. Thank you for your assistance, Miss Santos.
You're welcome. I'm not going to say your name because I can't pronounce it. With a slight wave of her hand, she leaves us. That seemed to be the end of it. Both Rose and I breathe a sigh of relief. Disaster averted. I also don't miss the thumbs up she gives me for doing a good job. I can't help but swell with pride. Still, I've already prepared myself to dial the number of the Luxborn, check it if she didn't ask for it. I will be very frustrated if, for some reason, something has already been decided without my or Rose's knowledge. That's a whole new level of unfair. We've been working hard on this. Moments later, Miss McClarg returns, looking a little frustrated, but with an apology clear in her face. I feel a little sorry for her having to go through all this trouble.
There seems to have been a little misunderstanding with my client. If you'll allow it, I'd like to stay and wait for them here. I was informed they'll be dropping by for the open house today. I figured it'd be a waste to just leave after that long drive. I might as well meet him here.
I love her accent.
certainly. You could stay at the parlor in the meantime, ma'am. I'm sure it won't be long before our guests arrive. And, Isabella, I left a few documents in my car. You know where I keep those. Can you please get it for me?
Rose takes a glance at her wristwatch before tossing me a set of
And
keys.
hurry! We've still got a few minutes to double-check those papers.
Okay, got it.
The two of them disappear behind the parlour doors. But I want the food in the parlour. And show them the damn letter, woman. 5 people. There is 2 there. Their departure brings with it a stillness to keep me company. Neither welcoming, nor comforting. I don't like this. It's impossible not to think of what really happened. I wish my memory isn't as elusive as it normally is. Then again, Rose already said she didn't receive any call from me. Was it just paranoia? A temporary lapse after having heard all those tales about this place? Probably. I want to think of it as such. Better to think of it as such, so I can work in peace. Except a small part of my mind begins to differ, and if I am going to be completely honest with myself, I want nothing more than to leave this place as soon as possible. I don't know what's in this house, and I don't want to know. The keys Rose has just handed me dig into my palm, its jagged edges creating shallow ridges on my skin from how hard I'm clutching it. It's a reminder of what I still need to do and why I've taken this job in the first place. Hugging my blazer closely to my body, I exit the house to get what Rose has asked from me. Just a few more hours, Isabella. Sell the house, get the money. Oh, okay. Sell the house, get the money, murder everyone! What was that? A flock of people have already gathered inside the manor's front yard by the time we officially open the doors. I'm not sure whether I should feel baffled or underdressed standing in their presence. Men and women of wealth and status, all dressed in the 90s in fancy suits and lovely dresses of varying colours, compose the medium-sized crowd. Their necks, arms, and fingers, all adorned with silver and gold, glinting in the afternoon sun. Some even have ridiculous fancy feathered hats on their heads. I really hope there aren't any magpies living nearby, like in those stories. Those birds will have a field day in this. They are murmuring amongst themselves, looking at the estate's facade praisingly, with some arguing about whose mansion has the superior architecture. But most of it stops as Rose calls for their attention. They don't look too pleased at being ordered around, but what can they do about it?
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Rose Cooper, and this is my partner, Isabella Santos.
Hello!
We'll be taking a tour of the mansion in 2 groups. Please make sure you filled up our sign-in forms before joining a specific group.
Those who want to look around the first floor, please follow my partner. I'll be guiding the ones who wish to see the ground floor.
Hearing this, a few wander to me. They are mostly old ladies who seem daunted at the idea of climbing all those stairs. Miss McCullough also joins our group, but what really catches my eye is the elegantly dressed pair she approaches.
It's so nice to finally meet you! When Chief Inspector Lee mentioned that a famous interior designer is in town, I knew I had to get you!
Your confidence in my skills is very flattering, ma'am.
I'm sure you won't disappoint, Marianne.
Oh, you know each other?
Not at all, ma'am.
You mentioned something about a Marianne on our way here, darling?
Oh, yes, I think I did.
They must be the clients she was talking about. Might have seen their faces somewhere before. Some magazine? Or the television? I can't quite remember. But then again, most of our guests have likely ended up on the news, one way or another. I won't be surprised if there's 2 already here. For people who are popular though, they aren't dressed as loudly as the others, and in their simplicity, the couple stands out. The woman in particular is stunning enough to turn the heads of most people in my group, especially the men with wandering eyes. The guy stands beside her, doesn't seem to mind though, and if I'm going to be a bit bolder with my assumptions, I'd say he's basking in the attention. Both of them, in fact. I think they are brother and sister if it wasn't for the public display of affection. The matching rings on their fingers just cements the fact that they are indeed a couple. Whatever. Couple or not, what's important is we get this deal closed before the current owners can even think of cancelling the listing. I just hope one of the people in my or Rose's group is brave and generous enough to buy this mansion. And so, with papers in hand, I lead the way. When they aren't whispering among themselves or going ooh and ah over one of another, they ask questions. From how the restoration process went to the history of the place, I answer them all. More than happy to talk about the art piece and architecture mostly. However, I'm careful not to mention anything about the urban legend. Not a good material of sale talks, even if the entire population of Luxembourg knows about it.
Some of the furnishings here are actually the 17th century originals, all of which have undergone a painstaking restoration process just to return its original beauty.
Even the glass thing. Colorful ones. Oh, I don't know, but you get the idea, I hope.
Guessing she's on about the stained glass window at the top of the stairs.
Especially that one, ma'am. It is said to be a gift commissioned by the fiancé of Lady Charlotte Ermengarde. The mansion's current owners have specifically requested that the restoration crew take great care in handling it. It's a priceless work of art and the most distinctive feature of the mansion.
It is pretty beautiful, I'll give it that. By the time I've stopped talking, her attention is already elsewhere.
Isn't this place wonderful, darling? I told you it's not a total waste of your time.
I don't know. Isn't it a bit too small? We might have to break a wall down to have more room.
This is a mansion, buckaroo!
Well, I think it is just right. Don't you think so, Marianne?
It is splendid, ma'am. But isn't it a little too early to make plans when no deal has been signed yet?
Never mind that. It isn't going to be a problem. We've got a wonderful legal team to handle everything. Start taking notes, though. I think I've got a few things I want changed before we move in.
The rest of the conversation gets lost in the chatter of our companions. I don't want to make any assumptions yet, but their sheer interest is enough to give me some semblance of hope. Oh, please, please, please let these guys buy the one. Eventually, our group reaches the kitchen. Much of the rest of the house, a great deal of effort has been put into restoring the room's classical appeal. The open hearth at the end of the room in particular looks amazing, like the ones I've only seen in fairy tale books. And mad props to the cleaning crew. Seriously, after overhearing hundreds of their complaints about the soot and tar staining the bricks and how much of a pain in the arse cleaning this will be, they still managed to pull this off. You can tell how British this is, pain in the arse. Or make it look presentable at least.
The highlight of the room, however, is what's underneath this hatch here.
Wine cellar.
Oh, don't say anything yet. An underground wine cellar.
This is the first time the guy in grey suit speaks up. Mr. Luke Wright? My memory supplies from the forms they signed earlier. His sudden attentiveness catches me off guard. Since the start of the tour, only his wife has shown any form of genuine interest in this place. But this time, something lights up in his eyes at the mention of the Undercroft. What's so interesting about a basement? I really don't understand rich people sometimes. Basements are amazing. Right now, he just gives me the impression of a child who's seen what he absolutely wants for Christmas. I've always found it cute whenever I see a child act that way. My younger siblings especially. On a grown man, it's almost funny.
Yes, sir. It could house around 7,000 to 11,000 bottles of wine.
Bloody hell!
Truly. And the room, how was it built?
The bricks that were used to build the cellar had been carefully picked for the purpose of maintaining and preserving a constant temperature and humidity in the room. It's a good place to keep your private collection in if you have one, sir.
It keeps the corks in good condition.
Oh, love. Didn't you say before that you wanted to make your own personal vineyard? Perhaps you could start one here.
Yes, go for it.
You know we're going to need space for that, darling.
And this isn't big enough?
If it's space you're worried about, sir, the Ermengarde mansion sits on a 46-acre lot. There's plenty of room for it. We were told that the original owners had a horse stable built here before, too.
There's a contemptive expression on Mr. Wright's face, but he doesn't say anything further. His wife, however, seems really pleased that he started to show interest, if only a little. And that, everyone, is where I'm going to have to leave it. We have a couple that seem to think that this place is theirs already. If you're enjoying the series, whack the subscribe button, it helps a ton. Send a like that way as well. Let me know if you're enjoying this stuff coming through. It does get really gory. Apparently it gets really good as you get into it, and it's a bit of a slowish start. So stick with me. I'm going to be doing about 10 episodes of this at least. And hopefully it will pick up by that point, and then, yeah, we'll see where it goes from there. But yeah, I will see you guys in the next episodes, or whatever else comes out next. I'm the Cerberus, and I'm going to take a nap. Ow!